Is the U.S. naval blockade of Iran's ports going as planned? Is it working? Is it too early to tell? That's what we're going to talk about on today's live stream. I want to welcome everybody here on our talks about what's going on with the Iran war. With that introduction, I'll go make sure everything is operating in the green. I'll say good morning to DeSanti Adventures, checking in from Concho, Arizona. Mr. Solo, how are you? And if you don't mind, let me know how the audio level is doing. You know, every time I fire up a stream, I'm changing settings and rolling the dice whether or not it's working. So if you'll give me an audio check, I certainly would appreciate that. Let's see, Mr. Solo says looking great. Thank you very much. Okay, and with that, you know, I changed the layout up. Pretty much every time I go back and I watch this on the big screen, I end up changing out the layout or changing up the layout. So boom, let's go. There's the new layout, or at least the latest layout. Because what I realized was when I made myself bigger, like half of the screen, I was watching this map up on the big screen and I couldn't tell what was what. I couldn't read the text. And my eyes aren't, you know, I'm a 53-year-old pirate. A lot of my viewers out there, y'all are older than me, and I said, you know what, I can't read that. I got to change it up where people can actually see the material. So now we're back to this format right here. A little bit of new and improved. Less bells and whistles, but sometimes less is more. So what you're looking at right there is a map of the ship traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see, we got Jacksonville on station. Coral C, how are you? 22 Sniper, good morning. MLR checking in from Texas, 754, how are you? Bert checking in from Pennsylvania. Steve from New Hampshire. Permission granted, my friend. Welcome aboard. And I got Jason on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I must be totally frank, saying the audio and the video checked out fine. Thank you very much. And Sling Blade, good morning to you, my friend. Audio and video is great. Okay, all right. Well, looks like everything's operating in the green. I will put a disclaimer that Fatima and the Sirat girls and crew are out on the carport. When you get a group of Filipinos together, they get very noisy. So if there's some chismes or laughing or cutting up in the background, real life, my friends, just deal with it. Just deal with it like I deal with it. Let's see, TCB checking in from Biloxi, Hero Legend, how are you? And let's see, I'm not sure if that's Rui DeMello, if I said that right. Good morning. And Benito checking in from Texas. So with that, let's just sort of catch up on what's been going on. I really am playing catch up myself. When I stay up in do these streams at night, I realize that I'm on the other side of the globe. So Eastern time, it should be 8 p.m. You know, Atlanta, DC time. It's 8 in the morning here. So if I stay up at night, which is your daytime, I can do it, but the next day I'm a walking zombie. Can't sleep during the day. I tell you, at my age, working nights just puts a hurting on you. You know, when it goes back, I can still party with you, but the recovery time. So anyhow, I sort of been down for the count trying to recover. So I'm playing catch up here too. Let's go over and see what DJT, some of his latest tweets here. And we'll just go down to this one here. 34 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday which is by far the highest number since this foolish closure began. So there's an update from him. And then from the gossip section, looks like he's still yak-yakking the New York Times. He's always yak-yakking somebody. Okay, so from U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, this is 9 hours ago, more than 10,000 U.S. sailors, Marines, and airmen, along with over a dozen warships and dozens of aircraft, are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and departing Iranian ports. During the first 24 hours, no ships made it past the U.S. blockade, and 6 merchant vessels complied with direction from U.S. forces to turn around to re-enter an Iranian port on the Gulf of Oman. Now, I know as much as you do, you probably know more than me, but it looks like, initially they said there was a grace period. What we reported and read on the last live stream is even when the blockade took effect, the chisme circulating was that they had a grace period to get out of there. But I didn't see a time. So it was pretty much, you better get out of there, you're going to be stuck there. So again, according to this, 6 of them tried to roll out, and they were told to turn around, go back to port, and now they're stuck. So it sucks to be those crews aboard those ships, because now they were so close, yet so far. And I just put myself in their shoes, right? Because a lot of folks have been stuck over there. Ships have been stuck there since this thing started. But it's just, imagine being on those ships, right? Everybody hurry up, get everything loaded up. We're going to get stuck here for months. Hurry up. Okay, all right, we got the engine running. Okay, let's go. We're rolling out. Everybody's like celebrating. It's like the thrill of victory. Then that radio call comes in, you need to turn around. This is U.S. Navy, whatever. You need to turn around and go back to port. The agony of defeat. Man, you talk about, put yourself in their shoes. It was like the flight that I was on a few months ago. We back out, there's a delay, or there's a big long delay. We finally back out. We're about to start going. Everybody's like, man, thank you. And then all of a sudden it stops. Captain comes out with a bullhorn. And you can check out that video. I talked about it. It's not good when the captain of a commercial flight has to come out and address the passengers with a bullhorn, but he did. And we pull back into the airport. So the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat for at least 6 merchant vessels who had to turn around. The blockade is being enforced impartially against the vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. U.S. forces are supporting freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. Now look, I'm not a international maritime law attorney, but when I consulted with Professor Google yesterday, they were talking about one of the elements of a blockade to be legal. And again, folks, legal, illegal, war crimes, it's all bullshit, ink on paper. Okay, the victor gets to decide what to comply with, what's illegal, what's not illegal. Anyhow, ink on paper. But I checked the ink on paper, and it says for a blockade to be valid, it has to be applied to everybody impartially. So it seems there's some validity to that, because every time you see these releases, They make sure they stress it's impartial. Okay. Again, did I mention I'm not an attorney specializing in maritime international law. Okay, so let's see if this thing will pop up there bigger. Oh, there we go. Look at that. And see, this is why I changed the layout. If you're just joining me, what I realized was the previous show, I had myself like on half the screen, and then it compressed down the material, the source material. And when I laid up in the bed, me and Big Pumpkin were reviewing the footage, I couldn't read it. Even though it was like half the, it was half the screen, whatever it was, I couldn't read the stuff. So I had to change it back where I'm in this little box up here. But I think now we can probably read the source material better. All right, so before I go into this slide right here, which is sort of busy, I'll go back to your comments for a minute. Let's see, Bobby Martin, good morning. How are you? Social Security Ninja, checking in from Northern California. Hope you're doing well. Let's see, Ramstein 1961. Stan checking in from Seattle. Got Heath checking in from Tennessee. Jason, how are you? Let's see, TCB. BK53, how are you doing? Okay, we got, again, Benito from Texas. Let's see, Hero Legend. So I think in AICS USA, how are you? And we got I Laugh at all of you in the house. So everything all good here. Just a beautiful, seems like it's going to be a warm day. That's why I'm out of uniform. Had to take the kids to school this morning. And then go pick them up a little bit later. And Big Pumpkin came in here and stole my fan so she could take it outside for her and her Searite Girls crew. So when she stole my fan, I was like, okay, I'll be fine without the leather jacket. So I'm sort of out of uniform. Jay Perry, how are you? Jack and Jennifer from the big West Virginia. Hope y'all are doing well. Kenny checking in from Brooklyn. All right, and I'll take just a second to take a look at myself. Okay, looks pretty good. And folks, again, let me know any input on my layouts here. My audio, my layouts. Can you read the stuff that's on the screen? Can you see me okay? I'm open to any and all suggestions. But again, I changed it back to this type of layout where I can, I can easily just go like that. You can look at my beautiful face, but one click, now you can, I think if you got it up on the big screen, you should be able to read that text. So let's just talk about this graphic, the overview, and this is put out by CENTCOM, so there's no spin on it, coming straight from who's conducting the blockade. So the overview, no ships allowed in or out of Iranian ports. It's being enforced impartially, and freedom of navigation remains for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz, again, except for ships entering or exiting Iranian ports. So obviously Iran has their version of what their rules are for coming in and out of there. What I think I'm labeling them the greedy pirates. As I was looking at it yesterday and I really thought about it, and this whole, why should one country on the side of a Gulf be able to charge a toll or to have any say-so over, if I'm living in Kuwait with my bass boat and I want to roll out and go fishing, I got to get permission from Iran to go fishing or to leave the Gulf. I just started thinking about it, and like these guys are high. They are out of their fucking minds. They're no different than Somali pirates down there. You board your ship, they charge you $2 million, extortion money. They're hijacking your ship, holding everybody hostage. You got to pay them $2 million. It's piracy. They're pirates. The Iranians are nothing more than just fucking criminal pirates. They're just very greedy pirates. If the Persian Gulf was a bay, like Subic Bay, where the land all around is Iran, okay, it's their country. But I think the Iranians are sort of confused, and they think that the Persian Gulf is a bay. It's not a fucking bay. First 24 hours, no ships from Iranian ports made it past the blockade. Now that's coming from CENTCOM, but I saw a couple of more headlines on articles that said one Iranian ship and one Chinese ship got away. That's just what I saw. I didn't dig into it. So there's some chismes that two of them made it through. But the point of this is that they may have made it through, but they're not out of the woods yet because they can interdict them at any point. So a ship leaves a port in Iran and it makes it through, it doesn't mean they're not going to get stopped over somewhere in the Indian Ocean. It'll be the thrill of victory. Hey, we got away. And in the agony of defeat, when 10 hours later they get boarded. 6 merchant vessels complied with direction from U.S. forces to turn around. Okay, so no problem. They tried to roll out. They rolled the dice. They had to turn around. Who's executing the mission? Okay, according to CENTCOM, we got 10,000 plus service members, 100 plus fighter and surveillance aircraft, and 12 plus warships. I think one of the news organizations was saying they got 18. Who knows what the exact number is, but they're 12 plus, 18, couple dozen, somewhere in there. And list of assets right there. Okay, so there you go. Now it was posted. I hate to say the times because a lot of times these social media sites, they're going off my local time, which is I'm sitting here in the Philippines. So we'll just say that's, 9 hours old information there. There you go. 9 hours ago, that's what CENTCOM put out. We'll just scroll down. Okay, he's a sailor doing maintenance on a helicopter. Okay, the USS Tripoli. Okay, and there's the article that they put out on the 13th. If you're just joining us and haven't been in the loop for a while. So just for the record, let me put that up there. This is the original article they put out that clarified, the president's tweet was, sort of general and reckless. Hey, we're going to blockade the whole strait. And then CENTCOM clarifies, we're not blockading the strait. It's just the ports. Okay. Let's roll over here and just refresh and see what the Iranians are talking about. Okay, so just what my old lady says, too much blah, blah, blah. Nothing that really addresses the blockade, at least from this Twitter feed. Okay, so just in a side note, I think somebody mentioned something about this YouTube channel that was posting these videos with Lego characters. So apparently YouTube has banned that channel. I'm not sure all of the chismes. Let's go here. I'm not sure why that got shut down. Okay, so nothing on this Twitter feed specifically about the blockade coming from the Iranian side. But they don't put too much information up there. They're not like DJT, who is constantly, y'all taught me this term, flooding the stream. So we'll come up here and see if he's got anything else. Okay, now Trump has flipped the script, using the ceasefire to seize control of the strait. And again, he puts so much stuff on here, my finger gets tired of scrolling. Here's a Europe is desperate for energy, and yet the United Kingdom refused to open North Sea oil, one of the greatest fields in the world. Tragic. Aberdeen should be booming. Norway sells its North Sea oil to the UK at double the price. They are making a fortune. UK, which is better situated on the North Sea for purposes of energy than Norway, should drill, baby, drill. It is absolutely crazy that they don't, and no more windmills. And then the rest of these look like just, it's my great honor to endorse, yada, yada, yada. And nobody reads that stuff. DJT, nobody reads that, man. You're just flooding the stream with useless information. Okay, we'll refresh one more time, and then I'll check your comments. So many ads on there. Okay, so nothing related to the blockade. And again, that right there is was that marine traffic? That's the traffic that's going on, which is an interesting graphic. It's a beautiful graphic to put up on the screen. But what does it really tell us? You'd have to record that thing for like 12 hours and then fast forward it, which a lot of news organizations are doing, putting it in motion to sort of see the patterns. Either way, it's a beautiful graphic. I'll leave it up there. Okay, back to your comments. Australian guy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Been watching his channel ever since Big Pumpkin was pissed he wouldn't pay for Flo's hospital bill. Yeah, what a great video. That's one of them in real life. We're in the middle of that little LQ, lover's quarrel. If you don't know what LQ is over here, that's like a little verbal domestic dispute over paying for her sister's hospital bill. Nothing new. You got a Filipino wife or a Thai wife, got a wife from Central America. Family member gets sick or goes to the hospital. Who they gonna look to? They're gonna look to you or me. It's just the way it is. Can't hate the player, just hate the game. But yeah, that was raw emotions on everybody's part that night. Okay, Sling Blade says, if the U.S. let Iran charge a toll there, then what's stopping China from doing the same thing in the South China Sea? Yeah, it's, what's, if the world allows them to charge a toll. And I was looking at some, the differences between a canal and a strait. Okay, somebody puts a lot of money into a canal or a port or what have you. It's reasonable to charge fees, right? But to drive past somebody's coastline en route to somewhere else, and you're going to try to stop them by force or coercion or just threats. It is extortion. It's hijacking. It's just thievery on the high seas. I mean, the Iranians are just absolutely out of their fucking minds if they can justify that. They're no different than Somali pirates. What's the difference? The Somali pirates are pointing an AK-47 at the captain saying, give us $2 million. The Iranians are pointing a drone or a missile at the entire ship saying, give us $2 million. What's the difference? But I will concede that if it was a bay, you know, it was a big bay in Iran and everybody had to go to ports there, okay, they can charge what they want. They built the ports are in their territory. You know, they would have an argument. That would be reasonable. Hey, we built this stuff. We built the infrastructure. You want to come in here, you got to pay fees like any other port in the world. There's port fees. But it's, you know, dear Iran, there are other countries in that Gulf. It's not a bay. Y'all need to look at a map, take a little boat across there and say, holy shit, on the other side of the water, there are other countries over there. Wow, look at there, there's Dubai. Shit, our whole life we were told this was one of the bays of Iran. Who knew? It's like, are all the Iranians and the military like in the Truman Show? And, you know, greedy pirates. Let's see. Concho Pete says DJT is the one that started all this tariff BS. It's funny how you want to recognize international waters, but not the international rules of war. I recognize common sense. And what happens is when common sense is very simple. And when you start putting ink on paper, it begins to complicate things. And then they have gotten to modern day where ink on paper, laws, rules, what have you, are so complicated that nobody understands the rules anyhow. If I ask this question, how many laws are there in the United States? Is there anybody who could answer that question? They should be able to. There's 50 states. You got the federal laws, right? So you should be able to call up the state of Texas or Tennessee and say, hey, how many laws do y'all have exactly? And they give you a number. So you just put a phone call in, all 50 states. Hey, can you tell me how many laws we have? Yeah, sure. Then you call up to Washington, D.C. and say, how many laws are there, federal laws? And you take those numbers, so it would be 51 different numbers, right? And you add them up, and then you should be able to say, this is the number of laws on the books in the United States of America. But it would be an interesting video to do. You don't even know who to call to ask that question. You know, that'd be a great video. Okay, state of Tennessee. Yeah, you tell me how many laws y'all got? I think that's out of 51 phone calls, you would get, let me transfer you somewhere else. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You got ink on paper, and it's just up to the individual prosecutor or law enforcement, whoever, to decide whether or not they're going to use that shit against you. There's so many laws in America that they could pick out any one person walking down the street and find a law to fuck with them over. So I'm not big on ink on paper. When you go to places where armed conflict has went down or is going down, nobody gives a shit about laws or ink on paper. It's about bullets and bombs. Let's see. Mr. G, how are you? Slow 3007, how you doing? Let's see, Rube Tube. Yeah, man, I lost a lot of weight, but I'm back down to my normal self. I know it's hard to believe if you started watching me when I was a fat guy. That's not me. This is me my whole life, other than 2 occasions. I let it creep up on me right before I left the States, and then the lockdown, I let it creep up again, just drinking too much beer. So thank you very much for noticing that. A lot of people are questioning my health, but this is like the normal me. And what's crazy is when you get fat, I know I'm getting off topic here. When you get fat, it creeps up on you, and even though you're looking yourself in the mirror every day, you're seeing this. Your mind is just looking at the normal you, where everybody else is looking at this fat guy. You don't realize it. And again, I didn't realize it until I was at a family reunion. My Aunt Donna said, "Damn, boy, you fat." Had no idea she was talking to me. I thought she was talking to somebody else. She's like, "No, I'm talking to you. You fat." Because she'd never seen me like that. She was like shocked. She wasn't expecting that. So, but it's crazy because you don't realize it. I realize it now when I go back and look at some videos from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? I don't recognize that guy. I didn't recognize him when I looked in the mirror. Okay, so anyhow, back to the topic at hand here. Let's see, Mr. G says, ask yourself, what is the difference between a policy versus law? Ink on paper. Ink on paper. It's just how is the person in charge going to apply it or interpret it, or are they just going to do what they want to do? Now look, I'm not saying this is a negative thing, but I'm just redneck question. Ain't the president supposed to ask Congress to declare war before they start going to bomb somebody? Something we can argue till the end of time. But do you think that the individual soldier or citizens caught up in the crossfire, when the bombs are raining down, they're thinking about ink on paper or policies or laws? No, they're not. The guy with his finger on the trigger decides the international rules of war and policy and law. And you're seeing this in Iran. It's quite clear to me that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is in charge of that country. There's basically been a military coup. At what point? Who knows? But they're not listening. They're not listening to the civilian government. The clerics are not listening to anybody. Seems like those generals are in charge. That's my opinion. I said during the live stream that the peace negotiators that were sent to Pakistan are not the people in charge. They're not the people with the wasta. It's the military, specifically the IRGC. They sent like 70-something people. I don't know if that number is exact, but they sent a ton of people to those negotiations. And I said, hey, we're negotiating with the wrong people. They're not the ones in charge. They're just messenger boys. They're just going to take the message, go back, no matter what they think. They're not in charge. And again, I read a a blurb where it said even 2 more plane loads of folks showed up. They sent a lot of people over there, but they were just messengers. And then what's crazy is yesterday or whenever, last 24 hours or so, J.D. Vance came out and said, we realized real quick that the people there weren't authorized to make a deal, thus confirming my suspicions that the people they were talking with had no wasta. They had no authority to make a deal. They were just there trying to gather information, try to come up with what they could get on a plane, go back to Tehran, and somebody there would make the decision. That's not coming from my mouth. That's coming from J.D. Vance. He said that's one of the reasons we knew real quick into it, we're not dealing with power brokers. Power brokers, the Iranian foreign minister is not a power broker. He's just here as a messenger. Let's see, Radley, how are you? Let's see, Jim, how you doing? The Owl's Nest Garage, how you doing? Let's see, Jay Perry, 32 years clean today. Man, all right, buddy, congratulations. 32 years. Well, this month, I don't remember what day. I'd have to look it up. Been 2 years for me off the booze. What's the effects of getting off the booze? Well, one main effect is I'm no longer a fat guy. I'm back down to my normal self. My entire life, I probably drink less than, 3, like anybody else back in the day. 3, 4 beers when you come home from a hard day's work, kick back in the easy chair. 3, 4 beers. But leading up to that weight just debacle, I was probably drinking 24 beers a day. I mean, just wasn't prepared for that many beers. Just body can't process it. It's going to turn into fat. Okay, Justin brings up a good point. Trump wasn't there. Trump would have to approve any final decision from the U.S., so what's the difference? Well, that's a good point, but according to JD, they were in constant contact. What do you say, a dozen phone calls. So they were talking back and forth to the person who could have made a decision, who could have said right there on the phone, yeah, okay, go with it. But again, according to JD, it was clear that nobody there had any real power to even be bargaining. So I think that's the difference. The difference was DJT sent a guy there in contact. They could have made some deals, which really I don't think that was the purpose of the meeting anyhow. But I'm just still going to maintain they're not in control. They're, by definition, has been a military coup. The military is in control of Iran. And that's not me just pulling it out of thin air. It's just looking at a lot of these conversations, a lot of these disagreements. The civilian folks seem to want to be reasonable, give up some ground, cut some deals, and the military is not. So the military hardliners are the ones calling the shots. Okay. And what happens here is I keep grabbing the wrong mouse. I got two mouse or mice. I got 2 mice over here. Keep grabbing the wrong one. Okay, yeah, it looks like they're arguing over, moratoriums on nukes. And we discussed on the last live stream is that by their admission, by, I guess, common knowledge, that they have enriched 425 kilograms of uranium to 60%. Now look, if you don't know anything about anything else, let me just put some simple numbers that I can understand as a dumb redneck. Okay, you take uranium, and for it to go into a commercial reactor to produce power, you enrich it. Some things say 3%, 4%, 5%, but safely you could say less than 20%. Much less than that. But it costs money and time and effort to enrich this shit. So if you're trying to generate electricity, once you hit 5% or whatever percentage that reactor requires, okay, enough is enough. They have enriched 425 kilograms to 60%. So you're already no logical explanation to get to that point. And then from what everything says is to get to 90%, it's not a huge process. It's one more step to get it to 90%. Now you can make a nuclear weapon. How much? How many? Roughly 10 to 12 nuclear weapons could be made out of what they have if they got it to 90%. So all, these guys saying, oh, it's for commercial power and civilian, that's all bullshit. And I'll agree with Trump that they're full of shit. Everything that they say is just blatant bullshit. Now, with that said, I'll still maintain I don't believe anything that any politician says. How do you know that a politician is lying? His lips are moving. It's pretty simple. I don't believe anything the government puts out. But these guys are so blatant, they don't even... What do they think? Do they think that we can't do math? Basic math? I mean, I'm from the backwoods of Mississippi, and I can explain it to my whole family after we've been drinking natural light all day, barbecuing, and they would understand it. They would get it. And the Iranians are still trying to say, oh, it's not for a weapons program. A group of redneck farmers or beer drinkers or people in the trailer park can understand this. And I'm not casting stones, folks. I grew up in a trailer. It'd be like this. You say you need less than 20 to power that thing? Yeah. Well, why'd they go up to 60? Sounds like they trying to build a bomb over there. Pretty simple. All right. Man, you know what? Lesson learned. I got to put this mouse over here, not as close to this mouse, and then I'll stop grabbing it. Okay, so Lee says we have to wonder how much uranium is buried underground after the bombings. Exactly. They come up with the number of 425 somewhere in there, but I'm always of the opinion is like if they have admitted to or alluded to, or the general number is okay, they got 425, they probably have 1,000. That's what I would assume, just to be on the safe side. So if 425 would make 10 to 12 bombs, let's just say they got 1,000 and they got enough to make 25. That's what I would go off of. That's just me. Okay, boom, James Miller. Off the top ropes. Look at that. That thing parked right there almost perfectly, right? Thank you very much. Traveling expenses to Iran. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So that looks pretty good right there. That came down in there no problem. Parked just perfectly. And on a timer, that thing should take off on its own. There we go. Look at that. Old single dad. So again, thank you very much, my friend. Certainly appreciate it. Okay, so Mr. G says, please consider taking a vote in this live stream. Yes or no, should the world put boots in Iran to get access to the nuke sites? I got to figure out, I know how to put a poll up. I think you can now do a quiz or something during the stream. I got to study up on that. I know how to do a poll, and I could put the link and you can go over there and vote. But it seems to be that's what, if they can come to some type of agreement, the agreement is going to be, the U.S. comes and takes custody of that uranium. You see another article that said the Russians have offered to come take custody of it, which in itself is not, come on, Russia's got more nukes than the U.S. does. Who cares if they go take custody of it? It's just somebody, either us or the Russians, preferably the U.S., has to take custody of that to get it out of there. What a mess. If it's in those sites that got hit, now you got to go in there and dig that stuff out. Who knows what kind of damage, how deep it was stored. What an absolute mess. But again, what's the alternative? Sit there and watch the sites with satellites till the end of time to make sure they don't go over there and dig that stuff up. And that's one option, just leave it as is. But that's not like, there's no resolution to that. So even going and digging that stuff up, what a logistical nightmare. And that's under negotiated conditions, right? So imagine having to go put troops on the ground, secure the site. Okay, it can be done, but just what a nightmare, the operation itself, to dig that stuff out of a bunch of rubble, no telling how deep it was stored. I would not want that job. Would not want that job going over there. So if you have to secure the site with boots on the ground, what a mess. Let's see, Rome, how are you? Let's see. Why Gulf nations are not participating to help clear or open the Strait of Hormuz. I just saw a short clip of the Saudis talking about, they weren't talking very nice about Iran. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be a political analyst to come to this, I don't want to say conclusion, but if Iran had just hit the U.S. bases in all of these other countries, right? Okay, so just follow me here. Iran's not happy that they're hosting U.S. bases. And those U.S. bases are being used to attack their country. Okay, nobody's happy about that, right? But if Iran had just sent missiles and only hit the U.S. bases, all those countries, they don't want to get involved. They want to just sit back and say, hey, that's between Iran and the Americans. They ain't got nothing to do with us. Just don't hit our malls, don't hit our infrastructure. That's the U.S. military versus the Iranian military. If they want to drop bombs all over that base, just let them do it. That's their business. But by Iran hitting their neighbors, not just the U.S. military sites, by hitting their neighbors, Now everybody over there hates these assholes. That wasn't a smart move. Now everybody's public opinion is against these assholes. Whereas had they just traded barbs with the U.S. on U.S. military bases, everybody else is sort of still neutral. They'd be sort of pointing the finger at the U.S. Y'all started this, you're getting what you deserve. That's up to y'all. But by Iranians hitting civilian sites, they lost all their friends. So what are you thinking if you're sitting in the UAE or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait? You're telling the U.S. go ahead and hit these motherfuckers so they can't do this shit again. Okay, Slow 3007 says, a power plant to produce power from uranium goes from 1.7% to 5.5%. And that agrees with the articles that I was reading. But, some of the graphs said below 20%. But yeah, 1.7 to 5.5. I worked in that nuke plant and shipped 5.5% that went ape shit in Japan during that tidal wave, the tsunami. Okay, so simple numbers. You only need to get to 5% to generate power. Why did they go to 60%? It doesn't make any sense. So it's obvious what they're doing. For them to deny that is just so blatantly insulting everybody's intelligence that they have to be delusional. Yeah, let's just tell them, yeah, we got 60%, but it's just for, civilian uses. Dear Iran, believe it or not, the American people and the people of the world can understand percentages, basic percentages. See Lanes Away and Busa. How are y'all? Steven, how you doing? All right, so let me go here and make some rounds on the news, and let's see what the news are reporting. We'll just start out with Al Jazeera. They always seem to have the inside scoop. Okay, so breaking, this is their top story, whatever, breaking. Trump hints at more Iran talks in Pakistan. Hormuz blockade enters second day. Canada is suspending federal taxes on gasoline and diesel. J.D. Vance says Pope Leo was wrong to say politicians must never wage war. Well, in a perfect world, humans wouldn't wage war against one another. So it seems like Pope Leo is quoting what would happen in some type of fantasy utopia. It's no different than a Miss Universe quoting world peace. What would you do if you were Miss Universe? I would work for world peace. That ain't reality. Okay, so let's dig into a couple of their updates. Okay, Israel and Lebanon hold rare direct talks in Washington, D.C. as Israeli forces keep up attacks on Hezbollah. Again, the U.S. president hints at a second round of face-to-face talks with Iran that could be hosted again by Pakistan in the coming days. Okay, that's good news. Again, folks, I prefer some type of peaceful resolution. somebody's comment, oh, you're nothing but a warmonger. No, that's quite the opposite. Hopefully this can be negotiated down to where everybody can live and go back to just worrying about sending their kids to school, putting Jimmy Dean sausage on the table, and we can all go forward. Again, if the U.S. position is to get that uranium out of there and no weapons program, and they're not going to fucking budge. Let's just make that assumption. Trump is not going to budge on that. He said that many times. Much better situation if the experts are allowed to go over there and deal with this versus the military having to go in there and try to secure a site and take it by force. Okay, 1 minute ago, the Democrats plan another Senate vote to curb Trump's war powers. Democrats in the U.S. Senate are planning to hold another vote on Wednesday to stop Trump's unjustified war in Iran. Okay, so here we go. We're going to argue some more ink on paper, but we're continuing to argue ink on paper after how many days of bombs dropping from the sky. Ink on paper don't mean shit when the dude's got his finger on the trigger. There's a round in the chamber. A restraining order is not going to stop a crazed, jealous ex-husband by holding that paper up. Okay, so this Senator Tammy Duckworth, Democrat from Illinois, who filed the War Powers Resolution, said Trump's war of choice was putting American lives at even further risk abroad and sending prices skyrocketing for Americans at home. She said the Senate must fulfill its constitutional duty and vote to stop it immediately before our economy takes yet another hit and more lives are lost. The U.S. Constitution says that Congress, not the President, can declare war. Let's see, Democrats in the Senate and House have tried repeatedly to pass war powers resolutions to force Trump to obtain authorization from Congress before launching military operations. But Trump's fellow Republicans in Congress, who hold slim majorities in both the Senate and the House, have blocked the moves. Okay, so now this is the guy, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. You know, the guy on the barbecue grill that don't know how to barbecue hamburgers. He put the cheese on top of the raw patties. Democrat from New York said that Democrats will continue bringing the issue to a vote every week as long as the war continues. All that's coming out of Al Jazeera. Okay, I'll go to your comments and then we'll talk about what Vance says about Pope Leo. And again, this is just chismes, drama. But, you know, drama is what keeps people glued to the screens. Okay, Costa Zimbo says throughout history there's never been an agreement between two parties at war on the first peace talks meeting, not even on the second meeting. Okay, and then Busa, after Trump's post of himself as a healing Jesus, he has lost what little respect he ever had. Okay, I did see that post. We talked about that a little bit on the last live stream. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he delete that? JB says, never think you know what Trump will do. Absolutely. Nobody knows what's coming around the corner next with the guy. All warfare is based on deception. As long as you keep that in your mind, again, coming from the art of war, if you keep that, that's from chapter 1, verse 18, the art of war. All warfare is based on deception. Let's see, Papa Smurf, how are you? Mr. Gary, how you doing? Okay, James says, those assholes in Iran just killed several teenagers in their own country for speaking out and making a few negative comments about the government. Those people are slaves in Iran. Now, one thing that I haven't really put up there or brought to the forefront of these live streams is, what a lot of these Iranian folks who are outside Iran, where they can truly speak their mind, what their opinions are. And man, you got a lot of folks really speaking their mind about how evil these folks are, and they're behind Trump 100%. Now, can you really trust what the opinion of the average Iranian is when they've got an internet blackout? You say something wrong, you get schwacked. We don't truly know what their opinions are because it's very dangerous for them to express their true feelings. The Iranian media is only going to put people on the media that are supportive of the government there. But we're sitting here, talking about whether this is legal, illegal. Congress has to declare this and that. It just seems like the opinion of Iranians who have left Iran it's not being put out there enough. Their voices aren't being heard enough to paint a better picture of how life is. Okay, so let's go to, again, this is sort of getting off topic here. We were talking about the blockade. Let's talk about some more chismes with the Pope. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has told a conservative Turning Point USA conference at the University of Georgia that he still admires Pope Leo despite feeling frustrated at the pontiff's criticism of U.S. policies. But he said the Pope was wrong to say political figures should not wield the sword, and the pontiff should be careful when he talks about matters of theology. Okay, so he goes at it from a religious angle. Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated France from the Nazis? Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated Holocaust camps and liberated those innocent people from those who had survived the Holocaust? I certainly think the answer is yes. Let's see. So the Pope said, anyone who is a disciple of Christ is never on the side of those who once wielded the sword and today drop bombs. So it almost would, if that's what the Pope said, if that's his words, I think the word naive, well, naive comes to my mind. There's a position on preferring peace over war. But to say that that politicians should never engage in war, well, that's not reality. So the Pope is basically that Miss Universe, that Miss America pageant candidate standing up there saying, world peace, world peace. Let's see, Mark says, why are you talking about politics? You left the USA. You are probably treading in shallow water. I don't consider myself talking politics. What does that mean anyhow? Okay, I'm talking about real life events that are affecting my life, and they're affecting your life as well. So, number one, I'll talk about anything I want to talk about. I have that option. You have the option to listen or not. I prefer you listen and keep commenting. But to answer the question, I don't consider this politics. Why? I'll tell you why. This is me talking about my life. What's this show about? The Overstay Road Show. This is about my life living on what I call the old Overstay Road. This channel, the show, my videos, they always have been. People say, you don't have a niche here. Yeah, I do. The niche is this show is about my life. You can go back all the way to 2012. I've even got playlists now that break my life down by years. You want to know what I was doing in 2013? Go to the playlist, hit play. You can see. Chronological order. So what's going on over there? How is it affecting my life right now? Well, my kids are doing online classes half the week now, which my daughter doesn't like. She wants to go to school. So one element of our life, now the kids can't go to school because everybody's having to do what they got to do to conserve fuel. Number two, a tank of LPG here has doubled, cooking gas. Diesel continues to climb. We don't have strategic reserves here like some countries do. A lot of countries don't. So I don't consider myself talking politics. I'm just telling you what's going on in my life and what I think about it and what I know. Do I claim to be a professional political analyst? No, but what the hell is that? How do you get to be labeled a professional political analyst? Because you went to college and got a fucking 4-year degree in basket weaving, and now you get to be a political analyst? You don't know what you're talking about. Fuck, I don't. There you go. Put that in your pipe, smoke it. Treading in shallow water. Anyhow. And I appreciate your comments because, and you're not the only one. I get this all the time. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to stick to barbecuing. Don't be talking about politics. Okay, well, why not? Who does the internet approve of? What type of person or background do you have to be able to talk about real world events? I mean, tell me, what kind of person should be authorized to talk about real world events or politics? Is there a template or a background or a degree, some ink on paper that you need to be able to discuss real world events? I value everybody else out there, everybody in this chat box. I value your opinion the same as mine. Your opinion is just as valuable as my opinion. And it brings up President Trump just appointed, well, mine's fuzzy, but he appointed the one gentleman to a position, and he used to be a plumber, and somebody from the Democrat side was trying to rip him, or was it a comedian? One of them jackass comedians making a joke that now we have a plumber in charge of whatever. I forget the whole story. But I'm sitting there thinking, what an asshole. What an asshole. You're talking bad about an American who was a working man. So all of a sudden, if you turn a wrench or swing a hammer or pour concrete or drive a truck, all of a sudden our opinions don't fucking matter. I mean, what an asshole. I don't even remember the details of the whole story. I just remember I got pissed off. Because here's the thing. Would the country of the United States be in the fucking mess that it's in right now if everybody in the government up there, here's a requirement. To run for U.S. Congress, you had to do at least 5 years as a plumber, an electrician, a truck driver, a factory worker, a police officer, a fireman. To run for any type of office in the United States, you actually had to fucking work for a living for 10 years. So imagine a Congress full of plumbers, electricians, mechanics, you name it, people who actually work. Would we be so many $1 trillion in debt right now? Would the country be in the fix that it's in, or would it be a better place? Because I look at my grandfather. He was a carpenter, farming. Would I rather have a Congress full of my grandfathers and his neighbors up there than what we got now? So, anybody from now on who says I shouldn't be talking politics, I'm going to double down. Okay? Don't matter where I'm hanging my hat right now. My passport says United States of America. It don't matter where my ass is right now. I'll say what the fuck I want to say about whatever the fuck I want to say about the United States of America. Good, bad, ugly, anything in between. That's what the First Amendment is there for. So, all right, let's go back to the second news source here. All right, I don't have any favorite news sites. I just open up a tab. I go through like 20 sites, whatever. I just go to site to site, read titles. Okay, Fox News. President signals that the Iran conflict nearing finale, but says U.S. is not finished. So just when it seems that this blockade is going to ratchet things up, the current reporting tends to indicate the opposite. It just, and it's subject to change in 5 minutes. But instead of ratcheting things up, it seems to, from the media reports, it seems to be going along as intended. All right, Big Pumpkin coming in here, giving me a cup of coffee. Okay, baby, I'm trying to run an award-winning serious news show here. Now, the Sirach girls must be out there listening because they're laughing. Or they could be laughing about something else. Well, ladies, if you are watching out there, Girly, please come in here and be my assistant. Political. What? She's sleeping. Folks, Girly's out there looking absolutely just gorgeous today. I tried to get her to come in here and do some commentary, political analysis, but I guess she's out there sleeping. She's sleeping because she's been up late talking to her digital chat mate. Anyhow, back to seriousness here. Fresh Iran talks could begin this week as the U.S. continues blockade on ports. A fragile truce between Tehran and Washington remains in place, so don't forget the original truce. I took the countdown timer off, so I'm not exactly sure how many days. I could put it back up there, but I realized that my layout was just too busy. There was too much stuff on there. Okay, a senior U.S. official told Fox News on Tuesday that the U.S. and Iran have all the ingredients of a deal. So, the question is the blockade going as planned? Is it working as designed to bring the Iranians back to the table to cut some type of deal? Okay, again, they're reporting U.S. Navy destroyer intercepts oil tankers leaving Iran, orders them back. The vessels departed from, how do you say that, Chabahar port? Is it Chabahar? I'm not an expert on the ports in Iran. They were contacted by the warship via radio communication. Let's see, the official said that these vessels were among the 6 that U.S. CENTCOM have been instructed to return toward Iranian ports after entering the Gulf. Okay, so broad strokes again, there were 6 that tried to roll out. U.S. Navy contacts them and says, flip that thing around, cut a U-ey, head back into port. And they complied. Okay, so again, recent news. Trump says the war with Iran is close to over. In an interview with Maria Bartiromo, not sure who that is. Okay, during the interview, she pressed Trump on the status of the conflict, asking whether the war had ended. I think I had to divert because if I didn't do that right now, you'd have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you'd be calling everyone over there, sir, and you don't want to do that. When asked directly if the war was over, Trump signaled that it was nearing its conclusion. I think it's close to over, yeah. I view it as very close to being over. Okay, so that's coming from Fox News. I know some of y'all will hit me for going to Fox News. Some of y'all will hit me for going to Al Jazeera and on down the line. That's why I don't have a favorite. I know everybody's spin. Everybody's got their own spin on things. Go to CNN, top headline. Trump hints that U.S.-Iran talks could resume over next 2 days. Also, Israel and Lebanon have agreed to hold further negotiations. All right, so everybody's talking. Everybody's talking. Sounds good. Again, it could change in 5 minutes. All right, let's pull up the next. Okay, so then here's a dissenting opinion. Trump's Iran claims clash with the reality on the ground. All right, and here's from a personal standpoint from the captain of a ship who's stranded in the Persian Gulf. So I'll check your comments and then we'll talk about what a ship captain says and his feelings about what's going on right now. Okay, let's see. Papa Smurf says, I've read that France has no issues coming through among other vessels. And again, folks, you know what, last week, what have you, the Philippines announced that through the Iranian ambassador, they had just been given the all clear for Philippine flag ships and energy sources to sail through the straits. Didn't really hear any reports on how that worked out or how it is working out. Okay, JXX says U.S. military is only stopping vessels transitioning out of the Iranian ports. So the question is, are the other vessels going through the strait now? Where is the information on this? Okay, all right, good question. And I think Trump put something out. Let me see if I can get back to it. Let me scroll through all the ads. I think he put out a statistic on that question here. My great honor to endorse. Man, stop doing that, DJT. Nobody reads that. Scrolling down here. You want to know what the man says? Right here. But your thumb will get tired of scrolling through the bullshit. Okay, so here we go. According to DJT, 34 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, which is by far the highest number since this foolish closure began. Let's see. MEC says, too much politics, I'm out. All right, my friend. Well, thanks for checking in. We'll see you on the next one. You know, folks, I'm going to do these live streams talking about world events, whatever the heck I want to talk about. We're going to keep it posting the same videos that y'all love, barbecue, you know, here, things going on here in the Philippines. We're going to keep that up. But I'm just going to add these daily live streams. Talk about real world life, you know, in real life, real world events, how it's affecting me, how it's affecting you. Okay, but there you go. Again, 34 ships, according to DJT, went through the strait. So if somebody wants to check around and sort of fact check that, is he exaggerating or does that seem to be a good number? Other reports I saw earlier was that one Chinese ship and one Iranian ship made it out. Now everybody else is not reporting that, but just because they made it out doesn't mean they're in the clear. It seems to be what they're doing. They're just monitoring the ports. So let me just put the map back up here. They're monitoring the ports. If somebody leaves They tell them to go back. If they don't, they're not going to come up here and try to challenge them right here in range of missiles. They have the luxury of just laying back. They know they leave, so they may just wait till they get way down here to board them. So if people think that they got away, it's probably a false sense of accomplishment, because at some point they're going to catch up with you. And I don't know that. I just saw that on one source, but they did say that one Chinese ship and one Iranian ship got out of there. I guess I should put the map up a little bit bigger there. Again, beautiful map. Beautiful map, beautiful graphic. But you really need to record 12 hours of that and put it to fast forward, to see the flow. And that was the question yesterday, is if one of the ships does not stop, how far are they prepared to go? Especially if it's a Chinese ship, Russian ship. Okay, so let's just go to, I always like the lowest, the story at the ground that's affecting the individual person. So this is from a ship captain stranded in the Persian Gulf. And there's a video there, but I'm just going to read it. Okay. The crew is in limbo amid conflicting statements from Iran and the U.S. regarding the strait. We discussed this yesterday. If you're a ship owner and you got a lot of money in that ship, or the cargo is yours, or you're the insurer, and you have two separate countries basically, at war with one another, putting out two sets of instructions and guidance on how to get through this waterway with all kind of threats, do you really want to sail your money through there? It's very easy for us to say, okay, they said it's okay, roll through there. Well, if you had $2 million of your cash in a briefcase or a bag sitting on that ship, would you be so quick to say, yeah, fire up the engines? Or would you say, everybody hold on a second and let's see how this thing plays out? So that's what this captain is saying. The captain of one of the civilian vessels stranded in the Persian Gulf, in an exclusive interview, said that his crew has been languishing in uncertainty for over a month as it remains largely closed. Okay. The captain of this vessel transporting oil, so it's an oil tanker, has been stranded here inside the Persian Gulf ever since the war started. The captain, who declined to disclose his ship's name and exact location due to security concern, described how his crew has been suffering from anxiety for weeks, thinking about their family. So earlier in the stream, I was talking about how 6 ships left the ports, thrill of victory, thought they were getting the hell out of there, and the U.S. Navy ordered them to return to port. You talk about driving somebody out of their mind. All this time, the crew has been awaiting notification from the company that operates the vessel as to when to move out from here and where to move out. So they're just been sitting there in limbo. And we all know how it is, right? The anticipation, especially when you don't know, there's no plan, everything is open-ended. Sort of like what we've been doing over a period of a couple months. We're about to move. For a while, we didn't know which way we were going, and don't know how to plan. Well, warning order's been issued to Big Pumpkin. We know where we're going now. And the uncertainty is not there anymore. Now everybody's excited. The uncertainty is really killing all of us, and the crew is feeling helpless. He says the situation is further compounded by the fact that two different entities, Iran and the U.S., are blocking the strait and keep changing the statements as to the extent of the blockade. Now, let's all bear in mind that what we're getting from the media is one story, and what the politicians and everything that we're hearing from them is another story. And then when you get down to what types of information and notes that these ship captains are getting passed to them from different organizations, it is very confusing. I mean, I just looked at some of the notes that they were reporting that they got, and then it's clear as mud. Nobody knows what to do, how to do it. Is it smart to do it? What the company says, what the insurer says. So this captain says, please listen to our voice. We are just seafarers. We are not soldiers. We keep the world moving. He added in an emotional entreaty to all parties to the conflict. We pray that good sense will prevail. So that's just one story from a ship's captain who's been stuck inside the Persian Gulf since this thing started. Obviously, there's a lot of stress on that captain because there's stress on every one of his crew members, the uncertainty of not knowing, just sitting there in limbo. And he's just one of many ships in the same situation. All right, so I'll go to your comments here. See, Peace for Humanity says a large portion of the crewmen are Asians or particularly Filipinos. Yeah, there's a lot of those crews are probably Filipinos. Kuya Steve says politicians, media, and lawyers make used car salesmen sound honest. Papa Smurf is reporting $4 US per gallon for gas. I haven't been out in a couple days. I don't know if they've raised prices up here since the last video. I'm assuming that they have, but I'm not, that's just an assumption until I walk up there and check the several, like 4 gas stations near our house here. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next news source here. Okay, now this is, what is this? Iran International. It's just another page I pulled up, folks. U.S. destroyer turns back 2 oil tankers leaving Iran. Let's see. Okay, so that's coming out of Reuters, but they're reporting it here. So let's see what they say. U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers are among the assets carrying out a blockade mission targeting Iranian ports. So we've already covered that. Okay, so again, a U.S. Navy destroyer intercepted 2 oil tankers attempting to leave Iran on Tuesday and ordered them to turn back. Reuters is reporting, citing 2 U.S. officials. Okay, so the same information. All right, looks like 2 tried to. A total of 6 so far were told to turn around. They complied, no problems. So as far as I know, there haven't been any instances or incidents where a ship refused to comply with orders from the U.S. military. And then the question is, will anybody feel froggy enough to try to run the blockade? Which at some point you assume they're going to be boarded. Let's take a trip over here to the BBC. Trump hints Iran talks could resume this week as U.S. maritime blockade continues. So, okay, again from that interview that Trump had with Fox's, the reporter from Fox. She says Trump told her the Iran war is over. Now, this is what she's posted on X. I don't have her Twitter account pulled up, but this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Fox Business anchor Maria Bartiromo said President Trump told her in an interview that the war with Iran is over. I said to him, Mr. President, you keep talking about the war like it was. Bartiromo said in a video posted on X Tuesday after she left the White House. I said, is it over? He said, it's over. So that's what this chick is reporting that he said. Now look, we know there's always a lag time and a lead time for the news to report really what's happening, right? But I don't know, it doesn't seem like she got that part during the interview, or maybe she did. I haven't watched the whole interview. But according to that reporter posting on her account, let's see if I can pull it up. What's her name? Bartiromo. I keep putting Twitter. Okay, so here she is right here. And then I'm on the wrong laptop. What did I say her name was? Maria Bartiromo? Ah, damn, I'm not logged in. I can't pull it up. This damn Twitter. If you're not logged in and you go to somebody's page, it'll show you tweets from 5 years ago. Man, that's downright mean, Elon. What about us old school players that don't want an account? We just want to read the damn post. Okay, so all this stuff is making its rounds. So what I'll do here, give me just a second to pull it up. According to her, Trump says the war is over. All right, so give me just a second to do some research here. Look there, even got another keyboard. There's a big difference between the war as being close to being over versus him saying the war is over. Just like the other day, somebody, I celebrated too quickly, and then somebody corrected me one word. It said, if or on condition of, I can't remember what it was. Bear with me, trying to get her post. Okay, look at there. Old single dad comes through like a champion. There we go, right there. I'm assuming that's her right account, Maria Bartiromo. I just finished my interview with the president. We are about to release parts of it, and it will run in its entirety tomorrow. Here is exactly what he says about the war on Iran. You keep saying was. Is this war over? President of the United States. I think it's close to over. Yeah, I view it as very close to over. So here we go. That's not saying it's over. Close to over, very close to over is not over. Am I missing something here? And see, that's how the media just totally takes something and twists it. These other articles said that she said the war is over. No, it's close. Very close. Ain't nothing over till the fat lady sings. My goodness. That's why the fact that Trump posts on this Truth Social, you get to actually see in real time what the dude puts out there. Talking about immigration. Because when you go to the news sources, they're just interpreting what the man said on that Truth Social. So close to being over, a whole lot different than being over. Let's see. Lee asked, why is that dated April 15th? If you're talking about the tweet, remember I'm in Philippine time and my computer's on Philippine time, and these social media posts will show me the local time. And it'll show me the local Philippine time when it was posted. And so there's discrepancies in the date and time. They're not showing it like in Eastern time. They're showing it in my local time. That's why when I first started doing this, I didn't know why all the news sources were cutting off the date and time of the social media posts. Now I get it. Because whatever country they're sitting in or the time their computer on, that's what it'll show. And it confuses everybody. Because everybody's thinking it's U.S. time or Eastern time, D.C. time. Lee says, try and find Biden's post. I'm not sure if he ever was on any social media. See, never give up. How you doing? Hello from the castle. Says, dude, I'm starving in the Philippines, eating chicken feet and drinking light beer. Speaking of chicken feet, folks, I've already put it to the ladies. Got a eating challenge coming up. It take me a couple weeks to get it going, but I'm gonna have an eating contest between Big Pumpkin, maybe two other ladies, on who can eat the most chicken feet. The winner gets either cash or a cake. It's gonna be a surefire smash hit. And like one of y'all brought up, that there ain't much meat on chicken feet, especially chicken feet here in the PI. But Big Pumpkin is an expert nibbler. So we're going to have to appoint some type of judge to determine if the chicken feet has been properly nibbled to 100% before they can go on to the next one. But according to Big Pumpkin and her potential competition, they can eat 100 chicken feet. So, which creates sort of a logistical problem for old single dad. I'm going to have to go out and buy one of the big, huge woks like we had before. Now it's like made out of aluminum, which I'm not really too cool with, but it's huge. I'm going to have to get a huge wok and put somebody over there just constantly cooking up the chicken feet. I mean, got to have probably at least 300. Got 3 ladies, got to have 100 each. That's a lot of chicken feet to cook. James says, my money is on Big Pumpkin. Yeah, she's an expert nibbler. Chicken Thai Maine checking in from Buddy Lime. Yeah, the chicken feet, it's just a lot of nibbling. It's just a lot of nibbling. But again, Big Pumpkin is a expert nibbler. All right, so let me go around the horn here. I got 67 thumbs up, 3 thumbs down. Thank y'all very much for a total of 70 likes. If you don't mind, tap that like button, smash that like button. If you say the right words, your little box there with the thumbs up and thumbs down will light up red for a split second. It will do it, but I can't get it to do it on command. Very few people have actually witnessed that YouTube mystery. But if I say the right stuff, tap that like button, hit that like button, smash that like button, it ain't doing it. That little box will flash red to bring your attention to make sure you hit the like button. It don't do it on my end. Okay, boom, coming off the top ropes. James Miller, thank you very much, my friend. Says, Pumpkin for the win on that chicken feet eating contest. We'll see. And you know what? When I first queried the ladies, they acted like it wasn't no big deal to eat 100 chicken feet. They weren't worried about that at all. All they were worried about is what the prize is. And I said, oh, the winner will get a cake. They said, no, we want some cold, hard cash. They want some pesos. But I thought when I threw 100 chicken feet up there, they'd be like, oh, we can't eat that much. They were like, shh, that ain't nothing, no problem. Just tell us how much we gonna win. So it could get fast and furious. Filipinos love to play games, and they love to win. They get so excited, whether you're playing cards, Monopoly. Everybody likes to win, but not like they do. They love to win. So they want to win, but if you put $500 or 500 pesos as the prize, we really need to do 1,000. You say 1,000 pesos to the winner, plus bragging rights. Ooh, there's going to be probably the fastest ever. Maybe I should call it the Guinness Book of World Records. They will eat 100 chicken feet faster than anybody has ever done before. Baby, would you like to comment on the chicken feet nibbling contest on your strategy of what you're going to try to do?
Say it again. I'm still processing my TikTok. I'm outside. We're doing TikTok.
Okay. How long do you think it's going to take you to eat 100 chicken feet?
I don't know.
Can you come down a little bit? You're out of frame. You see the business we're doing here? Okay. How long will it take you to eat 100 chicken feet? Babe, back down. Eh? There we go.
1 hour?
It's going to take 1 hour.
30 minutes? I don't know.
Okay. Now, don't reveal who you're competing against. Don't say their names, right? But who do you think's going to win?
Me?
You're gonna prevail on eating 100 chicken feet.
Wait, but I want money. I want money. I don't want chocolate and no. I want money. You need.
What if I just buy a chocolate cake?
No.
The winner gets a chocolate
money.
cake. You can share it with everybody after the chicken feet eating contest,
I
huh?
want money.
About 250 pesos.
No, Rico.
Baby, I'm gonna award $5 to the winner of the chicken feet eating contest. Is that enough?
Tuki.
$2K. Baby, that's like $35.
Tuki.
$35. Ain't nobody ever seen $35. Let us see it. How about 1K? 1K.
1.5.
I'll do 1 too, only because I'm feeling generous.
1.5. Give 1 to.
What should we give for the losers? The winner gets 1K, the losers get 100.
To you. Basta as long I'm the winner eh. I'm the winner.
So you're certain.
Oh.
That
But no
you-
time,
that-
huh?
Huh?
How many time you going to give us? 1 hour?
Well, if you're certain that you can eat 100, I'll say the first person to eat 100 wins.
Oh.
But if you're not sure, it'll be who can eat the most.
Wait, Beckham. We're going to take again. 1 hour. I can't eat that.
Y'all see the stress I'm under here? Boom! Kuya Steve coming off the top ropes. Kicking in for the Great Chicken Feet Challenge. Thank you very much, my friend. So apparently they're out there doing some type of TikTok activity. Normally I would be out there with my camera recording the events, but the problem is they're very shy. And so when I come out there with the camera to try to show you all behind the scenes, a lot of times they shut down. They'd wait till the foreign guy leaves. You know, obviously they're going to post it on somebody's TikTok, but they'll spend 2 hours out there doing their dance for, you know, to post that, 15-second video, 20-second. I'll tell them to send me the final clip, and I'll include it in a video. Well, I like to go out there and just observe, but when me and my camera shows up, they get shy and they shut down, so I don't mess with them anymore. You know, if they had some red horse out there, they wouldn't care. Yeah, Mr. Pink. Big Pumpkin always operates her reactor, her hunger, her stomach is always at a 40% hunger rating. It's always 40% on her reactor. She's always hungry. At a moment, she can go up to 90% on the reactor of her hunger. But she's always operating at a 40%. She will always eat. All right, Steven says $3.70 per gallon in southern Alabama. Some parts are $3.35. That sounds wonderful. Again, last time I went out, diesel here was over $9 per gallon. $9 per gallon. A lot of folks in this country only make, you know, $200 per month. You can do the math and see how even small percentages of the gas price going up has a significant impact when you're making $200 a month. Is the Bulldog invited? The Bulldog is always welcome here. She's always welcome. The Big Pumpkin will try to throw her out on the street, but she's always welcome to try to get over the wall. And you know, I don't know what set Big Pumpkin off about the Bulldog. She's usually pretty cool with most of my girlfriends in the past, but she did not like the Bulldog. I mean, we rolled in like 4 in the morning, put us right back out on the street, forced me to have to roll to the ABC Hotel with the Bulldog. We stayed up in there for like 3 days. I had no choice. What could I do? Wait, what could a man do? His old lady throws him and his girlfriend out into the street. I just posted up at the ABC Hotel. Room service. Okay, Peace for Humanity says, is there Amazon or similar to it in the Philippines? Yes. Number one, Big Pumpkin has a Amazon wish list. It's linked somewhere. I don't know if it's in the video or on the homepage. You can buy stuff on there to come straight here. Number 2, we have what's called Lazada here, sort of like Amazon, and also Shopee. Boom! Sling blade off the top ropes of the octagon for the chicken feet challenge. Thank you very much, my friend. Certainly appreciate it. I guess I'll just take this time, take a pause in talking about that. Let's focus on the chicken feet challenge. There's 2 ways to conduct the contest. Number 1, just say who can eat the most chicken feet. Same way with that hot dog eating contest, right? Whatever lady eats the most chicken feet wins. We can do it. Who eats the most chicken feet in 1 hour? Put a time limit on it. Or B, who can eat 100 chicken feet the fastest? Now the problem with chicken feet, here's the logistical nightmare, is the judging. Because there's going to be arguments till the end of time, like those hanging chads of the 2000 elections. Chicken feet are very difficult to determine if it's been nibbled to 100%. I'd have to have some judges, a panel of judges, to sit there. So I imagine a lady eats one of the chicken feet, puts it down, and then you have 3 judges that hold it up and judge it, like them dudes holding up them hanging chads. And then they'll decide, yes, it's acceptable, put it in the completed box. Or B, no, this chicken foot has only been ate to 75% completion. They put it back on the lady's table. They got to nibble it some more. But then you might have arguments that there's bias in the judges. Some of the judges are on the take. Just like an umpire calling a strike when everybody thought it was clearly a ball. It could just get very unclear as to who the winner is. It's not like a hot dog eating contest where there's a hot dog there, you either eat it or you don't. There's nothing left on the plate, right? Nibbling on chicken feet is going to be very difficult to judge 100% nibble completion. So that's why I'm struggling with it. I'm going to have to work out that problem, or else they'll be arguing until the end of time who won. I don't want to give out trophies for the 18th place winner. Okay? I want to decide who is the chicken feet nibbling champion, the champion nibbler. James says set a time limit. See, Papa Smurf says a balut challenge from the Ciroc girls. Man, some of these ladies here, they can eat 3 or 4 balut. You would think maybe they only eat 1 or 2. Some of them can throw down some balut. Let's see, Earl says last week I filled my semi up and it cost over $1,000. Man, my goodness, I know that's rough. Yeah, JB says they're mostly skin. Yes, here in the PI, there ain't a whole lot of meat on a chicken feet. Over in Thailand, they got more meatiness to them, but over here, it's mostly chewy. You know what I mean? It's like beef jerky, but chewier. I don't know how to describe it. It could add flow to the mix, but I'm not sure if flow could hang with these ladies I got. I don't know. Flo's been eating pretty healthy down there the last time I saw her. So I don't know. Maybe she is a contender now. When we left down there, I would say no. But yeah, good point. Last time I saw her briefly on, she was chatting. I was like, my goodness. It's like Flo and Fatima are having an eating contest that I don't know about. It's like a secret eating contest. Kuya Steve comes up with a great title. Foreigners shocked by how many chicken feet can be destroyed by Filipinos. We might be shocked. I'm budgeting 100 per lady, and maybe I have to do that. If I leave it open-ended and just say how many can you eat, I may severely underestimate. Maybe it's a time. Who can eat 100 chicken feet the fastest? I'll have to work it out. Maybe I'll hold a boat. There you go. Chicken thigh mein pretty much describes it. It's nothing but gristle and tendon. Yeah. Lee says Flo can pack it away. Apparently so. Okay, so Bobby says tensions are on edge between China and Japan as well as the rest of the civilized world over Taiwan. I saw a couple of articles, there's stuff going on over here in the West Philippine Sea. I went that way, it's this way, every day. A lot of the incidents don't get a whole lot of media coverage outside the Philippines. All right, so let me see if I can pull up any updates. Just do some quick updates, and then I'm going to shut her down. So there's a refresh on the screen. All the ships over there. Let's refresh DJT's. Hold on, y'all are looking at me. Let me refresh DJT's Twitter thing here. His truther, whatever you call it. Doesn't look like he's posted anything new. Let's check CENTCOM. See if they've got any new information up there. Okay, so it looks like a new post here. Or did we already see this one? Let's see, David, how are you? Got Montana on station. Okay, so here we go. From CENTCOM. I'm trying to click the wrong one. Got too many mice here. Okay, U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers are among the assets executing a blockade mission impacting Iranian ports. The blockade is being enforced impartially. Again, got to make sure you get them keywords in there. Impartially. Against vessels of all nations entering or leaving coastal areas or ports in Iran. A typical destroyer has a crew of more than 300 sailors that are highly trained in conducting offensive and defensive maritime operations. So that's their latest post there. Got a couple more here. Okay, it's from the USS Abraham Lincoln. There's an F-35B stealth fighter aboard the USS Tripoli. 3,500 sailors and embarked Marines are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and exiting Iranian ports. Okay, again, you got to make sure you use that word impartially. When I did a search yesterday, Professor Google came up with for a blockade to be legal, it has to be enforced impartially. It can't be only on paper. You actually have the ships to pull it off. Okay, come on around here. Okay, we've been discussing the chicken feet challenge. Now, do you think it's better to say whoever eats the most is the winner, or whoever eats 100 first, the fastest, is the winner? Which one you want to do?
A lot. The one that who eat more na lang,
not just 100.
Oh, I don't know if I can eat 100. Oh my gosh, that's.
So you're saying just whoever eats the most?
Yeah.
We'll say in
we count
2 hours.
Every finish the 1 feet. Oh, count that. Oh, like that only.
Okay, so what do you want, 1 hour or 2 hours?
1 hour na lang.
1 hour.
I want my money dahil.
Okay, so who can eat the most chicken feet in 1 hour? That's how you want to compete.
Oo.
Do you have a strategy, a winning strategy? Do you have any strategy in mind?
That's mine only.
Huh?
I don't want to tell my strategy. Gosh. Oh, we're going now. We finish.
Okay, I'll catch up with y'all. Thank you very much.
Hello, I just get forced. You
Okay.
need to go there.
No, I'll catch up. Do you have any comment, political-wise, on the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports? Tell us what your political analysis.
Saying my comment.
What's your comment?
What I said the other day.
Or did you want to? What you said the other day? What's the comment? Bomb that, she says. All right, so just a couple more. Let's see. We've already seen that graphic right there from CENTCOM. So I'll just leave this by asking the question: do you think that the blockade is working? Do you think it's going to work to bring the Iranians into some type of deal? And again, according to that recent interview with the president, he told that lady that very close to ending the war. But a lot of news sites are reporting that the war is over. That's not what she said on the Twitter post. So I'll take a couple comments, folks, then I'm going to shut this live stream down. I want to say thanks for joining me. Okay, James Miller says one winner only, $50 US. So baby, that'd be like just say 2.5. 2.5 to the winner. Is that fair?
2.5. That's good.
So you think if 2.5,
2,500.
yeah. Now don't tell who your competitors are. I want that to remain a mystery right now. But somebody said that if you brought Flo up here, she might take you out. She might win. Who could eat the most, you or your sister?
Me. But that's my favorite.
So your favorite is chicken feet. Baby, can you down a little bit?
It's human in there.
Okay, but you see it right here on the output screen here. So you would have no problem beating your sister. But you got some tough competition. The ladies in the competition.
Maybe she's the one. I don't know, but I'm what. Well,
if there's money involved, you know you're gonna win.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see what happened.
Okay, and one last question, and I'll let you go. In 1 hour, how many do you think you can eat?
I don't know.
Estimate.
100 or 50, like that. Or
So
more than 50?
Between 50 and 100. Say 75. You think you can eat 75 chicken feet?
As long as you don't have rice. I don't like.
No rice. It's just chicken feet. You
Yeah.
just eat chicken
I don't
feet.
want.
What if I
full
spice
onion.
up the contest and the last 20, I put hot sauce on there?
Yeah, no, you know me.
Huh?
See
Or
that?
every other chicken feet, I put hot sauce.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to put some hot sauce. Not going to tell them. All right. So, folks, I want to say thank you very much for joining me on this let's go around the stats 2-hour live stream. We've been discussing informally the Iran war. Is the naval blockade working? Do we think it's going to work? Or things going to get messy? But right now, today's mood of the moment, subject to change at any moment, today's mood is they're going back to the negotiating table. Possibly in a few days, in a week's time. It seems like the mood is calm, even though this blockade is going on. But again, by the time I shut down the stream an hour later, things can obviously change. I can just tell you the feeling that I get reading what's out there right now. Things are pretty calm. We'll see. And then from boots on the ground yesterday, report from boots on the ground in the region, everything was quiet. Quiet leading up to the blockade, and as far as I know, still quiet. All right. 86 thumbs up, 5 thumbs down. Thank you very much. Certainly appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who sent money on the super chat. Boom! Papa Smurf off the top ropes. Let's see. Check out Max Afterburner on YouTube for Iran War videos, a former fighter pilot. All right. Thank you very much, my friends. Certainly appreciate it. Hope you're doing well in the Big Apple up there. So, folks, I think that I got everybody thanked from the super chats. Hopefully, I didn't leave anybody out. Again, there's just one flaw in this little software that when I'm looking at the stream from the software, it's not highlighted. If they got to change that where it's highlighted. Other than that, the software is a champion. Yeah, so y'all hit that thumbs up. I'm going to get out of here. I will see y'all on the next one whenever there's some updates. I'll fire up the old live stream. And again, I'm out of uniform today, but I got to go play old single dad. Plus, it's going to be a warm one today. Let's see. Ethan, how are you? Hope you're doing well. BAH, how are you? Checking in from Norfolk. See, Papa Smurf says Janice has that dump truck easily to beat anyone. It's going to be a good competition. But if they see there's 2.5 as the prize money, it's going to be rough, tight competition. All right, folks, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Make sure you hug your kids and your old lady. You know, I'm just thankful I got another day on this beautiful planet that we call the Earth. Got these beautiful children, but I got to run. I'm signing off. Old single dad checking out. I'm out of here. Peace out, my friends.